Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon or good evening depending on where you are, and welcome to my first Enlisted tips/guide video. In this video I'll be assuming two things. First, you know what Enlisted is, of course, and second, that you already played at least 30 minutes or an hour on the game prior to watching this. If you didn't do any of these things, you can go watch the video I did about the game some months ago. I'll put a link in the description. My tips should help you improve at the core mechanics of the game, helping you winning your games more often and thus allowing you to ground your campaign much faster. And without further ado, let's jump straight right into it. Tips number 1. Build a rally point as often as possible. Engineers are, in my opinion, far too underrated. You can build trenches, sandbags, flag gun used for shooting aircraft, but let's be honest, especially enemy soldiers, AT guns, and more importantly, rally points. Rally points allow your whole team to spawn closer to a cap point, allowing for a quick respawn when you try to defend or a lightning fast counterattack when you try to cap it. You can only build one rally point per player, so if at least 3 players build a rally point near each cap of a game, you can very quickly go back on the front line whatever the point, and this is essential to maintain pressure over the enemy. The bad side of it is that when a group of players spawn on a rally point, it becomes inactive for 10 seconds, which is sometimes longer than going back to a spawn point. In such cases, it's up to you to judge whether or not it's worth waiting or walking. On the same note, when you find an enemy rally point, try to destroy it as fast as possible to prevent further reinforcements, or you can stay near it to prevent the enemy to respawn there. Our tip number 2, play radio operator. To me, radio operators are by far the most broken and overpowered class of the game right now. They have access to semi-automatic rifles like the Gewehr 43 or the M1 Garand, and they kick ass! If you're good at aiming, you can wipe a whole squad with one magazine. These guns carry between 7 and 10 rounds.
Yes.
Their rate of fire can be equal to some submachine guns if you have a good trigger finger.
Yes.
And since each round can one-shot people in the head or upper body, you have in your hands a weapon capable of killing, not downing, 10 enemy soldiers.
Yes! Come to Papa!
But wait, there's more. Radio operators can call artillery strike on the field every 4 minutes thanks to their radio, but when you level them up to a certain level, you gain access to a talent allowing you to call artillery every 30 seconds. Enough said. With this talent and your extremely potent gun, you can deny a whole area to the enemy just by yourself, and you can have up to 3 radio operators in your squad. Yep, just think about it. Tip number 3, play your tanks like they used to be used, conservatively. It's quite easy to think that you're invincible in a tank, but in Enlisted, thank God, you're not. A well-placed TNT charge, bazooka shot or APCBC shell in your ammo rack, and you reenact your usual 4th of July firework. So, if you want to live longer than 30 seconds in your tank, just don't rush enemy lines like a madman. You would be far too exposed to flanking shots from another tank or infantry overwhelming you. Just stay at the back on the vantage point, if there's one, and play like tanks used to be used during the war, as a support for the infantry. Your coaxial MGs are very powerful and quite accurate, so use them to snipe people with them. Plus, HE shells are quite efficient for infantry, although not as much as I would like. And you have a hit indicator showing you where your shot will land, allowing you to play quite in the rear of your troops. And for our 4th tip, don't be afraid to switch between your soldiers. The whole point of Enlisted is that the game allows you to play within a full squad of soldiers. You have your specialist leading the squad, but your squad is also composed of regular riflemen, and they can be quite useful on the field. Soldiers have limited inventory emplacement, so sometimes you really have to choose what your main soldier will be carrying. And that's why other soldiers in the squad are so useful. You can pack your radio operator with his radio, a second weapon, several medpacks, etc., but you can still put some TNT charges into your other soldiers' infantry. So when you're close to a tank but got no charge to blow it up, just switch to a different soldier which has a charge and take care of that tank. Soldiers are there to populate your squad and help you on the battlefield, so remember to use them. And tip number 5, for our last tip, but certainly not the least, Remember guys that Enlisted is first and foremost a game of capturing points whether you are in a conquest, assault or invasion game mode. So please, for the love of reindeer, PTFO. You are no use to your team there sniping people with your submachine gun or trying to outflank the enemy team from miles away if you're defending. You can play around the point, sure, but don't forget that you gain much more experience and research points by winning the match than just killing people. Always prefer playing around the cap points to help your team than playing your own game, regardless of what's happening. Remember, Enlisted is a team game, so be a part of yours. And that's it, my boys. I still don't know how I'll balance my videos between War Thunder and Enlisted, but I shall figure it out in the future. In the meantime, if you guys think about other tips that could help newer players that weren't mentioned, please feel free to share them in the comments. And finally, I hope you guys like the video, that it will help you improve on Enlisted. As for me, I really enjoyed the game and spent quite some time on it lately. And in the meantime, boys, stay safe, take care, and I'll see you in the future.